Did you know that the man mopping the floor in your office could secretly be your boss? That's exactly what happened at Prime Tech headquarters, when a quiet janitor in a faded blue uniform walked into the building every night. Unseen, unheard, and completely underestimated. What no one knew was that this man, Daniel Cole, wasn't just cleaning the floors. He was cleaning up the truth about the billion-dollar company he had, founded 20 years earlier, a company that had betrayed everything he once stood for. Daniel had built Prime Tech from nothing, just a rented garage, a laptop, and a dream that technology could change lives. But after selling his shares and retiring early, he thought the company would live by his values: honesty, equality, and respect. Years later, rumors reached him. Workers mistreated, janitors ignored, and managers who mocked those who weren't important enough. So, Daniel made a decision no billionaire had ever made before. He went back undercover, disguised as a janitor, to find out what had become of his dream. No one looked twice when the new night janitor showed up. He mopped, dusted, and took out trash bags, silently watching the world he had built from the shadows. What he saw broke his heart. Executives laughing about cutting staff healthcare, managers ignoring cleaners, employees competing like machines under impossible deadlines. The place that once stood for innovation now stood for greed. And as Daniel listened to the CEO, Leon Drake, boasting about record profits, he realized Prime Tech had lost its soul. Every night, Daniel recorded everything: conversations, policies, cruelty. His ID badge had a tiny hidden camera that caught it all. He wasn't there to destroy anyone. He wanted proof. Proof of how his creation had turned into a machine that crushed the very people who kept it alive. When he overheard executives joking that janitors don't need health care, they can be replaced, Daniel finally snapped. He didn't just feel disappointed anymore, he felt betrayed. The next morning, he met with Elena Martinez, an investigative journalist known for exposing corporate scandals. Sitting across from her, Daniel finally revealed who he really was. "You're Daniel Cole," she gasped. "The founder of Prime Tech?" He nodded. "And I'm about to show them what happens when you forget the value of the people who built you." Together, they began a secret operation, gathering evidence, documents and testimonies from workers too afraid to speak. For 2 weeks, Daniel and Elena built an ironclad case. Hidden footage, secret recordings, pay disparities, and messages where executives mocked their staff. It was all there. But Daniel didn't want to leak it to the press just yet. He wanted justice to be public, in front of every employee, every camera, and every person who had ever looked down on someone in a uniform. He planned his moment carefully. Innovation Day, the company's biggest annual event. On that day, the auditorium gleamed with lights and cameras. CEO Leon Drake took the stage, bragging about the company's billion-dollar valuation. Applause echoed through the hall, until Daniel, standing quietly in the back, raised his hand. "Sir," he said softly, "may I say a few words?" The audience turned, surprised. "A janitor on stage," Leon smirked. "Sure," he said. "Make it quick." Daniel walked slowly to the stage, mop still in hand. "Thank you," he began. "You spoke about innovation and pride, but you forgot to mention respect." A nervous laugh rippled through the crowd. "Do you know how many janitors here skip meals to afford rent? How many employees are ignored because they don't have fancy degrees?" Leon rolled his eyes. "Who even are you?" he asked. Daniel pressed a button on the tablet in his pocket. The big screen behind him flickered, and suddenly, every dirty secret was laid bare. Hidden footage of executives mocking workers, calling them replaceable. Clips of Leon himself saying, "If they don't like it, they can leave." Gasps erupted. Phones came out. The live stream went viral in seconds, millions watching as the truth unfolded live. Leon's face turned white. Daniel finally looked him in the eye and said, "You asked who I am. I'm Daniel Cole, the man who built this company." Chaos broke out. HR scrambled, lawyers whispered, and employees began cheering. For the first time, the workers, the ignored, the unseen, felt seen. That night, news channels around the world covered the story. Founder goes undercover as janitor. Exposes corruption in his own company. Leon Drake resigned within hours. Facing a full investigation, the board voted to reinstate Daniel as interim CEO, this time with a mission to rebuild Prime Tech not for profit but for people. Daniel's first order as CEO was symbolic but powerful. He merged all cafeteria lines, no staff-only sections, no disposable plates for cleaners. Everyone ate the same food, sat at the same tables, and earned fair wages. He introduced scholarships for low-income employees and made diversity training mandatory for every manager. The company's motto was rewritten on the wall: innovation means nothing without compassion. Months later, Prime Tech became known as the company that changed itself. Business schools studied Daniel's return as an example of ethical leadership. He didn't just rebuild profits, he rebuilt trust. Employees started calling him the janitor who cleaned the company's. So, when asked how it felt to go from janitor to CEO again, Daniel smiled and said, "Sometimes you have to sweep the floor to see the dirt success tries to hide." And somewhere in the corner of that glass building, the mop Daniel once carried still stands, not as a tool but as a symbol, a reminder that true leadership isn't about titles or power, but about humility, courage, and the strength to do what's right, even if it means cleaning up your own mess.